Hello and welcome to the sideboard here at the StarCityGames.com Open Series in St. Louis. We're playing some Legacy today. I'm Ken Crocker here with CVM. CVM, you're playing a very popular deck that you wrote about in the newsletter.
Yep.
You're playing some Shardless Sultai.
I am playing Shardless Sultai.
So why Shardless Sultai after the bannings from Dig Through Time?
Well, it's kind of interesting because I feel like the format has just gone back to a place where Deathrite Shaman and Abrupt Decay are very good.
Okay.
So with Dig Through Time out of the format, there's no longer this game of trading interactive pieces and resources early, 1 and 2 mana spells, and then either catching up or playing ahead with Dig Through Time after that first scuffle happens. Yeah. Now we're to a point where a deck like this is able to just take advantage of the calmness of the format, I guess you can say, where it's more so, we just have we're kind of doing our own thing, but this deck is able to interact, whereas a lot of decks aren't playing those interactive spells because they don't have a way to catch back up.
Yes.
This one does because of Ancestral Vision.
Because it has Ancestral Vision. So we first had the banning of Treasure Cruise, so that wasn't good for this deck.
Yep.
And then we had Dig Through Time, so that wasn't good for this deck. And you actually get to draw cards in Legacy, which not a lot of people do. They do have a lot of card selection, Ponder, Brainstorm, Preordain, but you actually get Ancestral Visions. And you're trying to hit your Ancestral Visions most of the time off of Shardless Agent.
Absolutely. But you also can just suspend it on turn 1. So, like I said, with Dig Through Time out of the format, the fundamental turn of Legacy, I feel like, has gone up.
Okay.
So, timeline going, before Deathrite Shaman was printed, fundamental turn was, three-ish,
Sure.
3 or 4 in Legacy. Deathrite Shaman was printed, pushed it down to 2, and then the format kind of started to, evolve around it, I would say. Become a little bit more stable, and then the delve spells just made it so that you were in a hurry to interact with your opponent, otherwise you're going to get buried in card advantage. But now with those delve spells gone, I feel like we can play a little bit of a longer game, take advantage of Deathrite Shaman, handle permanents with Abrupt Decay, and allows his Ancestral Visions to take over the game, whether suspended or cascaded into.
So you're talking about how a lot of people don't have the ability to trade resources, and very much like Jund in Modern and in Legacy, this deck is kind of Jund-esque insofar as there's a lot of built-in 2-for-1s.
Absolutely.
But you get to play blue, so you get to play Brainstorm, and cards like Jace and whatnot. Interesting that there's been an addition to this deck since the last time we saw it. It's actually a one of Jace Vryn's Prodigy. So this doesn't see a lot of play in Legacy, mostly because of like Caracas problems. But why the one of Jace? How good has it been for you?
It's been very good for me. Caracas is an issue, but there aren't very many decks that can play Caracas. To be honest, Jace isn't very good against those Caracas decks, so you can usually just side it out. You also can just keep it in hand to pitch to Force of Will, and I have Wasteland, so I do have ways to handle Caracas. But being able to rebuy cards like Abrupt Decay and Hymn to Trek and Thoughtseize are very, very good right now. In addition to that, it's very, very easy to hold down the fort. So like if I can flip it and you just plus it against like a Tarmogoyf, they're usually not going to be able to kill my Jace, and then I can untap and actually handle the Tarmogoyf. I almost decided to run an Unearth this weekend because it plays well with Jace. It's also very good with Baleful Strix and Tarmogoyf. Okay. But I felt like there weren't going to be very many Temur Delver decks this weekend, which is primarily the deck that I would want the Unearth against, since Goyf and Baleful Strix are very good against the Temur Delver decks. Didn't pull the trigger on it, but it is something that I want to try in the future and expect to see adopted. I think it could be very good with Jace, if Jace continues to see play like I think it is.
Fair enough. So you do have a lot of like combo hate, if you will. In the main, you actually have Thoughtseize, Hymn to Torek, Liliana, things of that nature. You also have Force of Will, of course, playing blue deck. But in the sideboard, you actually decided to splash a little bit of white for a couple Meddling Mages. So this deck not really known for having the strongest of mana base. So you can get Wastelanded off your mana in this deck. But you've decided that the Meddling Mage was strong enough to maybe make your mana base a little worse. So why Meddling Mage? Why the white splash?
Well, like I said, I don't think Temur Delver is extremely popular right now.
Okay.
There might be some Wasteland decks, but I don't think there's Stifle Wasteland decks. So while my mana can be attacked, I do have Deathrite Shaman to help fix it. We do have Brainstorms to help us draw out of it. But against the combo decks, Meddling Mage works perfectly with the discard package. So similar to how you see it in like the Esper Stoneblade sideboard to bring in Meddling Mage to go along with their Thoughtseize and Cabal Therapy, so you usually have him.
Sure.
But it helps stop key pieces that you can't really stop with the rest of the sideboard. So you have like Null Rod, Grafdigger's Cage, Piddling Needle can stop permanent based, and then Meddling Mage can come down along with your discard to stop the cards that are in their hand.
So it looks like if you're looking to draw spells and Legacy, if you're looking to draw cards and you're not playing Griselbrand,
yeah,
this is probably the best deck to draw actual card advantage over time.
Yeah, absolutely. Ancestral Visions is, I mean, it's banned in Modern.
Yeah.
So
a lot of Modern cards are banned. The Modern ban list is very heavily represented.
Yeah, very heavily
deck.
represented in this deck. Visions, Deathrite Shaman, Jace the Mind Sculptor. But yeah, I think that this deck is extremely well positioned right now. Its bad matchups aren't very popular right now.
Okay.
And even matchups like the Stifle Wasteland decks, like Baleful Strix is just very good against them. And I think that if you're not Griselbranding in the format right now, you should be Abrupt Decay Thoughtseizing, because, again, people are going to want to be trading these early resources, and now there's no dig through time for people to catch back up. So I want to be either drawing 7 or cascading into a draw 3.
Just drawing cards overall.
Yeah, they're a powerful thing.
All right. Well, thank you very much for signing us in from the sideboard. I appreciate it, CVM. You guys stay tuned, and if you want to see CVM play this, he actually did play it in a Versus video at StarCityGames.com, so you can watch it there. But trust me, CVM will be playing it later on today, so stay tuned for that.